Welcome back to the Longarm Quilting Business Show. I'm Lindell from the Quilt Room in Melbourne, Australia, and today I'm really excited to share something different with you. I've done my first guest interview with the wonderful and lovely Jennifer Moore from WonderFil Threads here in Australia. We talk all things threads, different types, different thread weights, lots of great information in here, and a few things to push me out of my comfort zone as well, which is always a good thing. So I hope you really enjoyed the chat with Jen. I must apologise, I did this in a different room, so the audio is not quite as good as I would have liked it. So I do apologise about that, and I've learnt for next time. Anyway, I hope you really enjoy the episode. Hi, Jen.
Hi, how are you going?
I'm really good. How are you going?
Hey, good, thank you.
So this is my first actual guest interview that I've done. So you're the first guest I've had on the podcast, so that's very exciting.
Ooh, okay, yes. Very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting indeed. So I would love it if we could get started, Jen, and you could tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do at WonderFil, what your role is.
Okay. All right. So I met Andrew, who is the big boss of WonderFil. He always says, no, don't tell people who I am. But anyway, I met him the end of 2018 and then started taking over looking after WonderFil in Australia in 2019. So yeah, that's 6 years now.
Yes.
My role here is I oversee everything for WonderFil here in Australia. Mm-hmm. The buck stops with me basically.
Fantastic.
and then goes. So here in Australia, we do all the wholesale of everything. We moved a year ago, 2 years ago. To a bigger premises. So we've got a warehouse full of thread. I always aim to have as much thread on the shelf as we possibly can because I don't like running out. I know what it's like when you've got a project and you want a thread. I always make sure that as much as I possibly can that we have it on the shelf. I have, I guess, always been involved in the textile industry. So I've done lots of things in the textile industry. So yeah, thread is just an extra extension, I guess, onto what I've done in the past.
Wonderful. And you're based in Melbourne? That's where the warehouse is?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
And I know what you're saying. I cannot tell you the amount of times I've run out of thread. I thought I'd had enough to finish the quilt. I'm a long armer, as you know. And I've got to the last row and I've just finished out and there's been a panicked phone call into your office and the ladies in there are always wonderful at getting thread sent out very, very quickly to me. So very much appreciated.
That's good. We do aim to have a quick turnaround on our orders as much as we possibly can. So
wonderful,
thank you.
Wonderful. What kind of sewing do you like to do personally?
Oh, personally, so for many years I made all my own clothing. I don't sew much anymore. Now I'm more into applique and embellishing. So I have my own little other side thing that I do. So applique and embellishing is probably a bit more my thing. I have done a little bit of piecing, not a lot, and I have tried to use a longarm machine. So I've had a go.
Yeah, how did that go?
Well, if only this was video, because you could see me doing this completely different action to what it is that you do when you are sewing on a regular machine. So very different. So I quite liked having the little play, but I've not had enough time to really do more on it.
No, fair enough. Are you allowed to tell us a little bit more about your side, your applique and your embellishment sort of stuff?
Oh, okay, sure.
Is that actually a business or it's just something?
Yes, it is. Yeah, no, it is a business. So it's Aster Anne, and I have pre-cut felt kits. That everything is already pre-cut. So the view is that you just open up the packet, everything is there, all the hardware, whatever it is that you need to make it with, and you just decorate it, embellish it, do it however you like. I actually had someone recently do some yarn couching on a sit-down machine on it. It looks amazing. It just free motion yarn couching. It is stunning.
Oh,
I wish this
wonderful.
was visual. I'd go, hey, check this out.
Well, I do
But
have you
there are
on. I do have you on video, and I will hopefully release the video maybe on YouTube or something if that's okay. So I'll definitely put
okay,
a
sure.
put a link in the show notes as well to that business. I'll grab that off you later. I'd love to check that
Yeah.
out online. Wonderful.
Okay.
Back
Thank
to
you.
Wonderfil. Back to Wonderfil.
Yep.
You have
Yeah.
such a wide variety of threads at Wonderfil. Can you run us through a few of the thread types and what they are used for?
Okay. All right. So WonderFil as a brand has 36 different thread lines.
Wow.
So you go,
Okay.
36. But yes, breaking those down into we have, of course, the rayon threads, the cotton threads, the polyester, and metallic and other, I guess, miscellaneous, if you like. But the three main ones really are your rayon, so your rayon cotton and the polyester threads. And within those categories, we have then got 12 weight threads, 8 weight threads, right up to the 100 weight thread in the polyester range. So there is a wide range of threads that we have. I like to say to people, we've got something for everyone. We cover the um but yes, so within those there is those different weights. So in the cotton and also in the rayon, we have threads that are great for hand work as well as in your longarm machine. And again, you can use some of those hand threads through like the couching type things as well. And then right up to the finer weight where we've got the 80 weight and the 100 weight, the Deco Bobbin Invisifil, which are really fabulous if you are looking at doing custom quilting and you want your quilting to stand out, not your thread. And that's where thread weight actually plays a big part in what you do with your quilting. Most people would probably look at a 50 weight or a 40 weight. That's kind of your middle of the road, kind of go middle of the road. That's sort of, we've most of us, I guess, have kind of grown up with like Gutermann or Metrosine or whatever. They're either 40 or 50, and that's kind of what we've always known. With WonderFil, though, we've got things that go, either side of that.
So as a long armour, I definitely tend to gravitate towards 40 weight or 50 weight thread for my general long arming, as you said. I have used the thinner threads, the 80 and the 100, but I've never used them for actual quilting. I've used them for stitching the ditch work. And of course, they are wonderful for that. They hide a myriad of little mistakes. But I've never actually used those thinner. Never used those thinner threads for actual, quilting or custom quilting. That's really interesting.
Yeah. So for custom quilting, they look amazing because it's where your quilting stands out, but the thread doesn't. So if you're doing something really quite fine and detailed, you're actually you're not adding in extra bulk as well when you're doing your stitch. So they do work really well for custom quilting. I have seen some stunning quilts that have been quilted that way. But of course, not to take away from the 50 weights either. I mean, they're great if that's sort of your middle of the road thing. One thing that we do tend to suggest, and I don't know whether your listeners would what their take on this is, but a lot of people tend to think that you have to match your thread in the top and the bottom on your long arm machine. We say no, you don't have to. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but we have our Deco Bob pre-wound bobbins, and we would always suggest that whatever you're using on the top, always use your Deco Bob on the bobbin. Even that, if that is like a 12 weight thread or the 100 weight thread, still the Deco Bob on the bobbin. With our pre-wound bobbins, they do have the factory set tension to them, and they're all really nice and even, and they just they have so much thread on them. They are amazing.
I'm a massive fan of the pre-wound bobbins. I hate it when I haven't got the right colour and I have to wind a bobbin myself. I'm very lazy like that. So a massive fan of the pre-wounds, Jen. But I'm like you. I very rarely match my top and my bottom thread in either colour or in weight. I just choose, you know, the colour that's going to blend in with the backing, and if that's different to what's on the top, so be it. And it's very rare, unless I've got like a white on top and a black on the bottom, then I'm tearing my hair out. Most of the time it's absolutely fine. So, And customers are always really happy to actually hear that. They're always quite surprised that I can use a different colour or a different weight thread on the top and the bottom of the quilt. So, yeah, it's a good little...
it's quite amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. I don't have threads in front of me, but one of the things that when I do a thread talk, I always talk about, okay, when you look at a 50 weight thread, the size of the cone for 2,000 meters is, as you would know, that big cone. And if you look at a 2,000 meter spool of Deco Bob, it's so much smaller, but they've got the same amount of thread on them. And something to keep in mind too is that if you are using the 50 weight thread, you are actually adding that extra bulk into your quilt as well. So you're adding extra weight to your quilt.
That's an excellent point.
Same goes for like piecing. Yeah, same with piecing. Like even if you were to piece with Deco Bob in the bobbin and a 50 weight like confetti, or even we now have a Fina, which is a 60 weight cotton, just to reduce the bulk in the seam allowance, so you get nice flatter seams and sharper points and things. You're still not adding bulk into your overall weight of it as well.
Yeah, that's a fantastic point. And one of the actual my listener questions, I did put some a post out into the world to say if anyone's got any questions for Jen for you today. And one of the questions was actually what thread, like, do you always recommend cotton thread for piecing, or can ladies use anything that they like now?
Yeah, definitely not. So if you were to do a foundation paper pieced quilt, I would go Deco Bob top and bottom all the way.
Yeah.
With having that, so you do a shorter stitch length, so like a 1.5, 1.8, so take it right down. And then you get that really fine stitching line, and your papers actually fall out. And you've got nice tight seams, and like, especially with your points and a lot of those foundation paper piece things are very angular.
Yes.
It works so well that way, because if you think about any time if you're stitching something like for garment sewing for years, you would do your little or whatever, or if you do your whatever
your reverse
continuous piece.
Chain piecing. Yes.
Yeah, chain piecing. But if you were to do your reverse forward and back over on a 50 weight thread, you're actually adding in a lot of seam, a lot of bulk in there. Whereas, chain piece, the 50 weight and the 80 weight. But we have now a Fina is a 60 weight cotton thread, which is really lovely. It's that little bit finer again than the confetti thread.
Yes.
So our confetti is a 3-ply, so three strands of yarn twisted together.
Yes.
A Fina is a 2-ply.
Okay.
And it sits a bit flatter. So I've seen some longarm custom quilting done with a Fina recently, and it looked beautiful. So a little different to the Deco Bob, but a Fina, quilted that way. It just being 2-ply, it's only the 2 strands and it's sitting flatter, whereas the confetti is the 3 and that sort of sits up a little bit more.
Yeah, that's interesting. I haven't tried the Athena, so I'll have to give that a go, because confetti is my absolute favourite cotton thread to use, and I've got a huge range of colours. It's got a beautiful range of colours in it as well. So I'll have
We
to try that
do. We
slightly
have
bigger one.
120. We've got 120 colours now, and we
Yes.
have 100 and, I think there's 120 in Afina now as well, which is
Oh,
really wonderful.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, definitely have to put
yes.
in an
So,
order
yeah,
for
you have to try
that.
some.
Yes,
Yeah.
I will. I will. I will. Because sometimes,
Yeah.
as much as I love the confetti, I do want something a little bit finer. And so then I'll tend to
Yes.
go to
Yeah.
another type of thread. But yeah, that's very exciting. I'll definitely give that a go.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, we've had Afina in just little small spools for a long
Yeah.
time, but
Okay.
people kept asking,
Yeah.
wanting bigger spools. So we've got 1,500 yard ones,
Yeah.
and not on phones yet, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure whether that's on cards or not. But
Yeah.
yeah, certainly a 1,500 yard spool of Afina would get you a quilt top done.
Yeah, of course. And I will just throw in there that I have to say your pricing of your threads is extremely reasonable compared to a lot of others.
Yeah,
So, yeah, that's very much
yeah,
appreciated from people like me who go through just
yeah.
thousands
Lots of
of
it.
yards
Yeah,
of it all the time.
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
that's really
I
good for
think,
anyone. Yeah.
yeah, I think the big thing for us is that WonderFil manufactures all of their own thread.
Mm.
So there's no external anyone manufacturing anything.
Yeah.
They manufacture the whole lot. And
Yeah.
that means that we have control over the quality of it as well.
Yeah.
Something that some people might not know about our threads, particularly like our cotton threads, they are all what we call double gassed, which means they go through a gas chamber twice. So the first time through, when you look at a cotton thread, there usually is a little bit of lintiness kind of thing
Mm.
to it, but cotton by nature has that sort of fluffy bit to it. Our cotton threads, no matter what they are, all go through the gas chamber first, and that burns off 80% of that lint. And then they go through a second time again, and that burns off another 80% of that
Mm.
remaining 20%. So we say they are virtually lint free.
Mm.
And when you look at the confetti, you
Mm.
would see that there is very, if any, lint there
Very
at all.
little.
And that goes for all of our cotton threads. So even our hand embroidery thread, so
Mm.
eleganza,
Mm.
all treated to that same process.
Mm.
Yeah.
How interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Mm.
And one of the other things that's probably a little bit more unique to WonderFil too is that with the variegated threads, so 2D being the variegated version of confetti, any of our variegated threads are all randomly dyed. So there's
Mm.
no set color change to them. If there's four colors, they're all random. So
Mm.
over some of it where the two colors or whatever might meet will give you a slightly different shade to something else somewhere else, that
Mm.
kind of thing. So they are randomly dyed. So you get a really
Mm.
nice change. You don't have like
Mm. I know
that
I've
kind
used
of
I've used those kind of
thing happening.
variegateds where you've got like that much color and then that much color, and yeah, it's really hard if the thread
Yeah,
breaks to kind of join it up again. It makes it very difficult. But
yeah.
yeah,
Yes, yes,
lovely.
yeah, yeah. So they're probably the two main things that I can think of that would be, quite unique to WonderFil as a company.
Yeah, wonderful. And
Yeah.
so we've talked a bit about threads for long arms. When people are
Hmm.
free motion quilting on their domestic machine, because I
Hmm.
know I've got quite a lot of followers that actually do that as well. Do you recommend the same kind of
Yeah.
threads? Is there any other little tricks that you could give people? Because I know people are often tearing their hair out with thread breaks and thread shredding, and when they're quilting on their domestic machines, it's certainly challenging.
Okay. I think the big thing there is to make sure you've got the right needle size.
Mm.
That's
Mhm.
super, super important. I
Mm.
mean, we have a brochure that's got information about all our different threads,
Mm.
and in there we also have suggested needle sizes,
Mm.
and it's really important that you follow that suggested needle size.
Yeah.
Even you might look at Deco Bob thinking, well, it doesn't need to have, I can maybe get away with a Microtex needle for
Mm.
a long arm quilt. That's not necessarily true. So you
Mm.
just need to just double check that
Mm.
kind of thing. Where if you were
Mm.
using Deco Bob to piece with,
Mm.
then most definitely you'd be wanting a Microtex needle. Yeah.
Mm. Okay.
So check check your needle size.
Yep.
If you were using a heavier weight thread and you have trouble getting that thread through the needle eye, you will definitely give up straight away. The heavier weight threads, they need to have a top stitch or a needle with a big eye.
Yes.
So the thread needs to be able to move. It's going to be able to move through the needle eye, because when you think about it, it's going up and down, up and down.
Yeah.
And it's got to be able to move. If you get like snappy breakages at the needle point, definitely change your needle.
Yeah, I think.
And keep in mind, you need to change your needle regularly. Not think you can use the same one for 20 projects.
That's an excellent point. And I think, I think as long armers, we always have a variety of different size needles and types of needles. I quilt on a Benina, so we use domestic needles, but I've always got about 4 or 5 different sizes ready to go. Whereas I think a lot of ladies on their domestic machine have used a Schmetz 80 all of their life and maybe don't even think about
and
trying a bigger one or a smaller one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, wonderful. Thank you for that. That's a great little bit of advice. Now, this is a question really mainly from me. Some quilters, like me, are very scared about using some of the fancier, I'll call them the fancier threads like rayon or silk or metallics or any of that sort of thing. What sort of projects could we try those for?
Ooh, well, I met a lady in the US a few years ago by the name of Terry Sherney. Terry Shern. I don't know. She makes art quilts. She makes the most exquisite art quilts that are really only 20 centimeters. They're not huge, but she uses metallic thread on the front and in the bobbin.
Wow. That scares me. That terrifies me straight away.
I know. Yeah. And in talking with her, she's like, yeah, but I want the back of my quilts to look just as pretty as the front. And I'm like, okay. So our particular our particular metallic thread has a rayon core, so it is quite soft, but metallic does have a memory, as you know. But it does actually work in the bobbin. I have talked to another customer who's actually here in Melbourne with her long arm machine. She had a customer that was asking, saying that she wanted a glitzy thread on the front and the back, and so this customer tried it. She said, oh, okay, I'll give it a go, I'll do it in my bobbin. She said it worked beautifully.
Wow. Okay.
It was amazing. And that customer has since come back and she's done another one again.
And so that was just for an edge to edge, was it, or was that custom quilting style? Yeah.
No, I think she just did an edge, but it was that's got all done in metallic. She had one done in gold and one done in silver. Yeah. But we have WonderFil, or Andrew has developed this little product called an ultimate thread dispenser. And it's a little gadget that can sit on the spool pin of your domestic machine or on your long arm machine. And what it actually does is the thread cone sits on top, and it's now coming out. The thread comes through a little guide, and that's then putting a bit of pressure on there, and it's taking away any of those kinks. So the thread's coming off as it does. You can see me doing this. Like but the thread's coming off the way it's been wound on. Before, we would suggest that you have your thread, the further away the better almost, and it was then making the thread come off from the top. This way it's coming from the side the way it's been wound on, and that really eliminates a lot of issues with using metallic threads.
Yeah, that's quite really interesting. Yeah,
so that's one all the time.
It almost sounds like the same idea as a thread mesh. Where the have you seen the thread nets? Yeah, which I think just stops the thread coming off unevenly, I suppose, like or all coming off at once, so it slows the process down.
Comes
off the side.
Slide.
Yeah, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's kind of been a game changer, I think, for a lot
Mm,
of people to have a
mm,
go with metallic threads.
mm,
Because let's face it, they look stunning.
mm,
In any
mm,
kind of free motion work,
mm,
the metallic threads are amazing. So
mm, mm,
I've had lots of people tell me that they've
mm.
had great success with that particular product.
Yeah.
So have a go. And the other thing too with rayon thread,
Mm,
rayon, like we have, Mirage is a variegated rayon.
mm,
We've got accent, which is, sorry, a 12 weight.
mm,
The rayon's just going to give you a little bit of a sheen to
mm,
whatever it is that you're doing.
mm,
Like for art quilts and things like that,
mm,
just getting it fine,
mm,
depending on, what it is that you're doing.
mm,
Yes, I think
mm.
I've seen some you look and you go, oh, there's some that I know that someone's used our thread and I go, oh, they've got glamour in there and that's got a little bit of metallic through it.
Mm,
It's got a strand of metallic. And you go, okay, that's that one there and that's that one
mm,
there. And you can really add a lot of extra dimension and texture to your
mm.
quilts just by changing the thread lines that you're using.
Need to get out of my comfort zone, don't I? And that's we've talked quite a bit about the thinner threads like the Deco Bob and the Invisifil. What about the heavier ones like the 8 and 12 weights? Are they just for hand quilting or could you use them in your machine as well?
We always suggest that the 3, 5, and 8 are just for handwork.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do know of some people that have put the 8
Mm,
through the eye of a needle and have used it on a queue
mm,
and have had great success with it.
mm.
We, as a company, just don't say that.
No,
So,
no, fair enough.
okay,
Mm,
that's my disclaimer. So we don't suggest that you use them that way, but
yeah,
however, if you do it, it's on you.
yeah.
But I do know that people that have done it and have had great success. I
Mm,
personally haven't tried it, so maybe I
mm,
should.
mm,
Um, but yeah, then anything from the 12 weight up is great through your machine.
mm,
And the 12 weights are fabulous if you really want to stitch something, depending on, if you've got an applique quilt and then you really want to highlight something around it, using a bold thread that way can really have a completely different impact to if you were just using just a deco bob.
mm, mm,
So the 12 weights, yeah, they can be a lot of fun. Particularly, I mean, I love glamour because
mm,
it does have that strand of metallic through it, and you just get a little bit of shine, a little bit extra
mm,
bling in there. So,
mm,
yeah, yes. So they don't work well, or it doesn't work well. Like I like to use a triple stitch with what I do, and
mm,
glamour doesn't work well for that.
mm.
Just telling you.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
great for other straight lines or blanket stitch and things, but
yes,
yeah, the
yeah,
triple back over top of each, yeah, it doesn't work.
yeah,
That's
wonderful.
my yeah,
Oh, sounds
yes.
like there's so much to experiment with, Jen. I'm excited. I'm excited
There
to get back
is,
on the
there is.
machine.
Yeah, I love when I'm starting another project. I'll think,
Yeah.
now what color, what thread will I use here? And I might just, pop out into the
I was
warehouse
about to
and grab.
say, you've got that whole warehouse to explore, haven't you, every time you start a new project?
I do, but I'm forever in trouble because if we're out with our stock count, they
Yeah.
go, Jen,
Jen.
was that
Lovely.
Yes, so
All
I'm
right.
often in trouble.
Amazing. So I've just got a couple of questions before we wrap up. Okay, this is a tricky one. If you could only pick one WonderFil thread to use for the rest of your life, what's it going to be?
Oh, currently, I think I would have to say fruity.
Fruity, and tell us about Fruity. Is that a variegated?
It
Or,
is a variegated, and it's the
mm,
12 weight cotton variegated. Just with the
mm,
applique that I like to
mm,
do, it
mm,
gives a really nice, like using blanket stitch. If you're doing applique with it, it
mm,
almost looks like it's been hand done, and
mm.
that would be. It's probably my go-to one at the moment. Everything's like, oh, fruity. Another
Fabulous.
fruity.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll have to check that one out as
Currently,
well.
That's this week's favourite.
I know, that's a tough question, Jen. I'll get back to you next week, shall I?
Yep.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
And finally, where can my listeners find WonderFil? You're only online, is that correct? Or
No.
no?
So we have lots of retail stores around about.
Yes.
Each time we go to a show, we're trying to have a little list of who's who in
Yeah.
each state. So we
Yep.
have stockists all around Australia,
Great.
and even in Tasmania,
Yes.
North Queensland.
Yes.
If they were to go to wonderfil.ca, which is our main head office website, it does have a store locator on there, so they can find, like Google check to see a store. Of course, there are lots of online stores as well that do stock a lot of our threads. And as a long arm quilter, most stores don't tend to keep any of the cones. So yes, you can purchase from shopwonderfil.com.au.
Beautiful. And
So,
as a long armer running a business, of course, I've got an ABN, so I've got a wholesale account with you, which other long armers that have a ABN could do as well. And it's wonderful that you've got
get in touch.
The new online ordering system you've got now is so easy. So that's a huge success as well. That's only been quite recent, so that's great. That's beautiful, Jen. I will put all of those links to your own business and to the WonderFil threads in the show notes. So if anyone wants to look for those, we'll find them. They'll be in the show notes there. Thank you so much for being my first live guest on the Long Arm Quilting Business Show. I really appreciate your time today, Jen, and it's been lovely getting to know you and a little bit more about WonderFil.
Yep, been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, see you later. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this special episode of the Long Arm Quilting Business Show with Jennifer Moore. Please subscribe to the show to be notified about new episodes. And if you like what you hear, I would love for you to leave a rating or a review. It really, really helps other quilters to find me. Here's to quilting smart and living well.